Okay, guys, so this next video is about the song Shooting Star by Bad Company. So there's one, two, three. There's actually four stories within that Shooting Star song. So I'm gonna tell you the scientific side first. Oops, like that. So this here is it's about UFOs. So this is a UFO, that nuclear fusion reactor here that's inside the UFO. So this is a UFO at rest. They turn a nuclear fusion reactor on, and when that inner ring, I think I've already described that to you guys already before in previous videos. Yes, there it is there. So when that inner ring here, right here, when it begins spinning inside of there, so there it is there, it's going this way, or this way, I guess. It generates microscopic black holes through the plasma being funneled down into that funnel there. So there's the opening here. The hydrogen gets funneled down to the bottom there, over here, where it turns into a little ball of plasma there, and it's forced through a pinhole, which creates plasma thrust, which forces that ring here, yeah, like that. So it moves the ring around like that, right? And the depending on how high you turn the reactor on, determines on which one of these electromagnetic spectrums is being produced. So level one is radio waves. So turning that nuclear fusion reactor on right here in the UFO and spinning those reactors at level one produces radio waves. Or maybe I'll use this one. So those things spinning in there, level one produces radio waves. Level two is microwaves. Level three is infrared waves. Level four is visible light. Level five is ultraviolet waves. Level six is X-rays. I should switch hands here. So X-rays is going like this. So let's go radio waves. Level one. Level two is microwaves. Level three is infrared waves. Level four is visible light. Level five is ultraviolet waves. Level six is X-rays. And then level seven is gamma rays. So that's what that ring would look like, spinning inside the UFO. So that's the ring here. It's spinning inside of there, and it's producing fire electrons and earth protons from that star there, right there. There's a little white star being produced in the center there. So that star, when those rings begin spinning here, the microscopic black holes create a ring of microscopic black hole energy. And then when you begin rotating these spheres, so you see how it's connected there? So that top one would spin like this. And then this middle one here, it would spin this way. And then this one here, it would spin this way. And then the one in the middle here would spin like this. So when you're spinning those four rings, it creates a sphere of black hole energy. Because it's spinning, the black holes generating there creates a sphere of black hole energy. And that's that sphere that compresses down on the core. So those four spheres, they're compressing down on the core. And right here, the core, right there, ignites a white star, a microstar, like a white star. Now, that star is just like a regular star right here. So a hydrogen, when it sucks in the uh, hydrogen atom, it that star produces free radical fire electrons or free radical earth protons. So these earth protons and fire electrons, they actually come flying towards the earth, and they get absorbed by the Earth's magnetosphere. Same process with the UFO engine. So that star there, it's producing those electrons and protons, and it's they're being shot out of it. It becomes like a gun. So when you turn that up to gamma rays, that's when it begins producing those electrons and protons, and it shoots them like a weapon. So you see how many here? There's lots of what's the word for that? There's a higher frequency of waves here as opposed to here. Here there's less waves, but here there's more waves. So the more waves that are there, more waves produced by that nuclear fusion reactor down here, the more earth protons and fire electrons that are being shot out of that reactor. So those earth protons and fire electrons are being shot out of that reactor. In the previous videos, I talked about this here. And so in the previous one, I said that there's earth protons and fire electrons being sent over to this one here, this UFO, and then they're being sent over to that UFO over here, and then that UFO is sending them down to here. So those are earth protons and fire electrons, and they're being sent around like that. These three UFOs at the Bermuda Triangle, the Dragons Triangle, and Antarctica. That's the pattern that they're doing. That's the previous video we talked about. So the shooting star, basically that means that reactor here, it's a shooting star. So the reactor here, you want to think of that black body object as being the reactor. It's shooting off those earth protons and fire electrons towards that UFO there, and that one is absorbing them. So this is an example of why they do that. So what you're looking at here is a gamma ray. So this is three-dimensional space here. So you got front and back. These UFOs are like front and back. So think of this top one here is being positioned on the top of the Earth, above the North Pole and above the South Pole. That's up and down. And then you'd have one over here on the right and left of the planet. So one over here, maybe above, I would say, the Indian Ocean maybe, and one over the Atlantic Ocean. That's left and right. And then you got back and forth, right? So then that's the other side of the planet here. I don't know where that would be. That might be, we did Atlantic Ocean, so it'd be the other way around. Anyhow, that's the three-dimensional space. So when you position those around the planet and you turn that reactor up, where'd that go? So there's the UFO here. I should put it like that. So when you turn that reactor up here of this reactor here and this one here to gamma rays, those protons and electrons that are being fired back and forth between each reactor, they actually hit every atom in the planet. And that's what uncouples the atomic bond of the planet's atoms. Every atom on the planet gets destroyed by these UFOs shooting those Earth protons and fire electrons of the hydrogen atom. So that's a Earth proton and a fire electron. That's how they terraform the planet. So that the UFOs, and I'm assuming it would take more than 6. It may take, 4,400 UFOs to do that. because you'd have to shoot quite a few electrons and protons back and forth between the two UFOs to uncouple the atomic bond of all the atoms in the Earth. So it's black because they've terraformed it. So these UFOs, they've used the gamma rays of the nuclear fusion reactor producing gamma rays through the black body radiation of the black body objects. The black body object is the nuclear fusion reactor. The black body radiation is the gamma rays, X-rays, ultraviolet, visible light, infrared, microwave, and radio waves being produced by the nuclear fusion reactor. So, I call it a neutral standing wave. Basically, what that means is because there's a gamma ray coming this way and a gamma ray coming this way, it creates what's called a neutral standing wave. A wave that's laid over top of the same wave going this way as it is going this way. So those waves, they ride over top of one each other and they become like a neutral standing wave. So that's why I have it as a neutral standing wave. So when they turn that up to gamma rays, that's what uncouples the atomic bond of every atom on the planet. The planet would just disappear. That's how they terraform the planet, science, by using gamma rays. In case you ever wondered what a gamma ray does, that's what it does. So this here is the same example in terms of three-dimensional space. This one here is from a different story that I'll maybe touch on later. But what you want to focus on here is this part here, because that's the reactor. That's the nuclear fusion reactor. So this here is when the reactor's not moving, but when those rings begin spinning inside of there, right here, when those rings, the inner ring begins spinning in there, that's what creates that black part through the microscopic black holes that dissipate through, or the plasma that dissipates through a microscopic black hole. So that creates the ring of black hole energy. And then when you turn the gyroscopic action of the reactor, it creates a sphere of black hole energy that compresses down on the core, and the hydrogen being flowed to that core there through the ring. So hydrogen flows in here, goes around here, flows into there, flows into there, flows into there. And then when the hydrogen enters the core, it gets compressed into a ball of white plasma or a microstar. And then that star, just like the sun, is producing free radical fire electrons and free radical earth protons. So those things are flying off the star right now because it's sucking in the hydrogen and uncoupling the atomic bond, and those things come flying out. Same process with the nuclear fusion reactor. So that white star, the hydrogen, those there's the free radical fire electron and there's the free radical earth proton. So those come flying out of that reactor, and it's those things there when it's turned up to gamma rays that is shooting them off of the reactor like a gun, like a gamma ray gun. Those particles are what uncouple the atomic bond of every atom in the planet. So this is an example of the same thing. So you got a UFO here and one over here. And I have it here as pivoting and swiveling. So the UFO wouldn't just sit in one spot, guys. It would follow that rotation there. And see it there? So the UFO would rotate around the Earth like that. So you'd probably position a lot of UFOs around there. I'm talking hundreds, if not thousands. So this one here is the same thing. The UFOs here would follow that line there. So they would pivot like that and swivel. So there's a pivot action and there's a swivel action that these UFOs do. So they pivot and they swivel around the Earth to shoot all those electrons and protons at all the Earth's atoms to uncouple the atomic bomb. So they're using gamma rays to shoot at the Earth. So those electrons and protons are coming off that reactor and being absorbed by that reactor, and vice versa. So you got a bunch of UFOs that are doing that all at the same time, and they're deatomizing the planet. And so here it is here, what it looks like there. So I have it as first, second, third. So the first one they use is the X-ray neutral standing wave. Let's go here. I'm gonna talk to science here for a little bit, guys, so they can weigh in on this at a later date. So, but you guys try to understand too. I'll try to use I call it plain speak, or grade school speak. What I'm teaching you here is very advanced scientific concepts on a grade school level. So this is the first. They use X-ray neutral standing wave. So the reactors. All right, here I guess is this one. So this first UFO, they use X-ray neutral standing wave. So the neutral standing wave here of X-ray, of the nuclear fusion reactor producing an X-ray, it allows the spirits that are an X-ray. That's an actual spirit, and that's a spirit. And the spirits that are inside the Earth as atoms, it allows those spirits in the form of X-rays and in the form of all the atoms that have been arranged on that planet. It takes an X-ray of the planet. That's what they first do. So that's why I have it as first. So all the UFOs, they go around and take a X-ray of the Earth so that the spirits can remember how to put that planet back together, atom for atom, molecule for molecule. That's the first process. That's what X-rays are, science and mankind. That's what they use them for. The next one is radio neutral standing wave. So you want to think of the radio wave here as being next. So I don't know if you've ever heard of radiocarbon dating, but they use radiocarbon dating to determine how old a fossil is. So it's basically the same principle. They take a radio standing wave of the planet, and that radio wave takes a similar snapshot as an X-ray, so they can radio carbon date the planet. So they know basically where certain materials that are older than certain materials, such as rocks and living, breathing animals and plants, all of that has a certain age to it. So they use the radio waves to radio carbon date the planet, so the spirits can remember where older things are positioned, like mountains, right? Like a mountain range is older than most things, but we have a mountain range here in Canada called the Canadian Shield. So right here is the Canadian Shield. It's a I think it's the oldest mountain range on the planet. I live on it. So it basically is a mountain range that has shrunk down to nothing. There's nothing there no more. The mountains have shrunk down, but there's still a layer of rock. So the radio waves would carbon date that Canadian Shield and say, okay, that's a really old mountain range. It's the oldest mountain range in the world. So the spirits would remember how to put that mountain range, the Canadian Shield, back together. That's what they use the radio waves for. Then the second one is the gamma rays. This is when they then use the shooting star of the UFO, right here, like that. That's when they then shoot the planet apart. So this is the third one, or the second one. This is the first, right? So these two are like first, the X-ray of the planet and the radio wave planet. Then the second, it shoots the planet apart. So then you got these UFOs pivoting, it's swirling around. pivoting and swiveling and then shooting the planet with the star of the nuclear fusion reactor with fire electrons and earth protons, which uncouples the atomic bond of all the atoms in the planet. If you were to witness this and sit back from space, you would actually see our planet just disappear. It would be gone, with the exception of the core, which is that part there. You'd see this big giant magnetic core in the middle, but the planet itself would disappear. You could actually see through it, through the space through it. So that's what happens when they shoot the gamma rays or the shooting star. So that's what the song is about. Shooting star. Bad company. There's going to be, or there was supposed to be UFOs, and there still could be UFOs that come here who are bad company, who, in theory, could use this technology to harm us, but I don't believe they can do it because they're bad guys. What I'm teaching you is the good side of creation. So the bad company here, the aliens that come here, the bad company, they're driving UFOs that have technology that can shoot stars. That's what shooting stars is about. Bad company. Evil aliens are to come here and pretend to be the good guys who have UFOs that can shoot stars or shoot hydrogen, earth protons and hydrogen fire electrons from their nuclear fusion reactor to deatomize an entire planet. That's one meaning of what shooting star means. Now, let's continue on here. So we got the third wave. So this here is the ultraviolet standing wave. So this is right here, ultraviolet standing wave. And then the third one is microwave standing wave. And then the fourth is infrared standing wave. So all of these here, the ultraviolet, the infrared, and the microwave, they're used to put the planet back together. So we have to go look at this other aspect here. This one, I believe. So these are the parts of an atom, and this is old, outdated information, but we'll still roll with it. So there's a fire electron, water proton, earth neutron, and air neutron. So you want to think of mother as being positive and being radio waves, microwaves, and infrared waves. That's mother. That's positive. Neutral is visible light, and then negative is father. So you got ultraviolet waves, X-rays, and gamma rays. Those are negative. And that's father. This is duality. Positive, negative, and then neutral. So to put these atoms back together, when you uncouple the atomic bomb by using the shooting star of the nuclear fusion reactor to shoot hydrogen, earth protons, and hydrogen fire electrons at the planet, you need to put those atoms back together, and this is how you do it. So on this side here, this is deatomization, reatomization technology that uses laser lights and sound frequency. So 528 hertz frequency is unique in that it's the only frequency in hertz frequencies that mirrors visible light. So if light, the 7 colors that make up visible light, had a sound to them, it would be the frequencies here. There's a particular frequencies that are given off. I don't know if I have that drawing, yeah. I know I had it somewhere, but yeah, I can't find it. I wasn't ready for this one. But anyways, there's a particular frequency that it would be orange. So you want to think of orange as having a frequency of, say, what am I going to use here? So let's say this is 400. Well, the color of orange would be the frequency 400 hertz. Let's say this is 300 hertz. The color yellow laser or from light would be 300 hertz. And let's say this is 200 hertz. The color green would be 200 hertz. And let's say the color blue would be 100 hertz. So we're just using that as the base. I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm just saying that that's what we could use. So when you want to put back something together, when you're first discovering reatomization technology, you would send down orange laser light. That orange laser is positive because duality dictates that light is positive, sound is negative, or up and down, right and left, woman, man, good, bad, right? So in order to put that positive fire proton or positive fire electron back into its atomic position, you need to use an orange laser light. In order to put that positive yellow water proton back into its position in the atomic bond, you have to use a yellow laser light. Now, because the neutrons here, the blue and green neutrons are neutral, you have to send down a green laser light while sending up the frequency for that green laser light. So in this case, it would be 200 hertz while sending down a green laser light. And that creates a neutral standing wave. That neutral standing wave would put that green Earth neutron back in its atomic place. The same with the blue air neutron. You'd send down a blue laser light while sending up a 100 hertz frequency wave of sound. And that creates a neutral standing wave, which would put that air neutron back in its place, back in its neutral place. So basically, to put an atom back together, you got to use light or laser waves and sound waves of the same frequency to put an atom back together. So when they're doing that on a planetary scale here, they use ultraviolet and infrared. So the same process here is there's ultraviolet. This is a neutral standing wave this way, which is this one here. So this is the good one because that's the actual ultraviolet wave. So this is an ultraviolet light neutral standing wave. So that ultraviolet light neutral standing wave going this way and going that way, it's imitating this neutral standing wave here of a laser light coming down and a sound frequency going up. A laser light coming down and a sound frequency going up. It's doing the exact same thing as that. So they use ultraviolet negative neutral standing waves to put that blue air neutron and green Earth neutron back into its neutral place within the atomic structure by using the ultraviolet wave. That's what the ultraviolet wave does, science. That's what it's about. That's why it's there in the table. Now, to put the positive water proton and positive fire electron. Now, these are older, outdated news, but we're going to carry on as if though that's how it is. So they use the infrared positive neutral standing wave. So this one here, they use that infrared wave. So you now have an infrared wave, one going this way from that reactor, and one infrared wave going that way from that reactor to create a neutral infrared standing wave, which mirrors this here. So you'd have a wave coming down, two waves coming down. But in the case here, what they use it for is they use it to put, because it's positive, where'd that one go? Because it's positive, it's a positive wave. And this is a negative wave, the ultraviolet. So this negative wave going one direction puts those two back in place. This positive wave going back and forth puts these two back in place. That's the easiest way to put it. So the infrared positive neutral standing wave puts the fire electron and water proton back in place, whereas the ultraviolet negative neutral standing wave puts the air neutron and earth neutron back in place. Or it puts the mother and father atomic structure back together by using the UFOs. So when you look at that here, that's how they put the atomic structure back together again here. Now, when the atomic structure gets back together, they have to get put back together in a particular way. And this is what microwave standing waves are about. So, this is a microwave. So we're now looking at this wave here, microwave, the last wave of the 7 waves. So microwaves, you want to think of that like a microwave here. In order to create lava, like at the core center here in the mantle, this is like the center, this is all liquid lava. This is more lava, but it's, like, I would put it as, it's liquid lava, liquid rock, let's say then. Then you got this mantle here that's like really hot rock, and then you got the oceans, right? So there's different layers there. So how do you recreate lava and molten rock? So let's say that's lava and molten rock. How would you create that? Well, you use a microwave, just like a regular microwave. So you want to think of putting the earth in a microwave and heating it up to create lava. So if that was like a chocolate, like a chocolate bar, and you put the chocolate bar in the microwave and it turned into liquid, you want to think of that liquid as being the molten core, and how technology can create a liquid molten core by utilizing the microwaves. That's what the microwaves do. So the microwaves here, the third one, that's what comes last. They use those microwaves at the same time as the infrared waves and ultraviolet waves to put the atoms back together of everything. And they put the atoms back together of the molten lava in the center of the earth, the molten rock, right? So the lava and the molten rock gets put back together at the molecular level as liquid, hot liquid again. That's how you do it. So the reason why they're doing this is they're terraforming the planet. So these are cities that they create, advanced civilizations utilizing UFO technology. This is a super city. So these are pink glass condo towers. So there's 40 of them. And each tower can hold 2.5 million people. So 2.5 million people times 40 condo towers is 100 million people. So 100 million people live in this condo city here. So there's a reservoir in the middle that's 200 kilometers across. And it has this piping that goes in there. And it has a magnetic levitation train. So you got water intake, waste water return. So this is what's called a super city. As an example here of what Earth is going to look like in the future when we research this technology, destroy evil, and terraform our planet. Terraforming can only take place when the good spirits are in control of creation. It can't take place when evil spirits are in control of creation. So in order for us to terraform our planet like this, we have to get rid of evil. That means we have to wage war against them, against all creation, and destroy them. That's why I'm asking for help from the good universe to send us UFOs so that we can, I'm going to ask for 1 billion UFOs so that we can wage war against the bad guys and get rid of them. And then your mother and I could get pregnant and destroy evil once and for all. And then after that, we could terraform the planet. So we could have these super cities here constructed, and they would look like this. But this is a bit more example. So they're basically 8 miles wide, 99 stories, or maybe I think they're 101 stories tall. Um, this is basically what the condos are put on the outside of the building because that's where the most circumference is. You can fit the most people on the outside, and they only live on the outside. That's a typical condo unit. You walk in the door, there'd be like a little kitchen area here, a little bathroom, then there'd be a 3 bedroom. There'd be a balcony. This is like a living room, dining area. In creation, you're only allowed one fraternal twin daughter and one fraternal twin boy. So everyone in creation they live in condos like this. So there's a fraternal twin boy bedroom, fraternal twin girl bedroom, and there's a mom and dad bedroom. That's what everyone lives in all creation. They don't live in fancy houses like what we got. So that's a basic diagram of what do these super cities look like, or condo towers. So this is like a mock-up of what it looks like on the inside. So you got the residential on the outside. You'd have hydroponics here, education and leisure here, commercial services, and then industrial. So there'd be a nuclear fusion reactor in the middle. These are, how do you want to call them, streetcar tracks, and how you get around in the condo, because the condo is it's 25.2 miles in circumference around there. So how do you get? Say you're gonna go visit your friend way over here. How would you get over there? Well, you just jump on the track and travel around and go visit them. So that's what this is here. So this is a streetcar drawn from our perspective of what a streetcar looks like. I'm not saying that's what it looks like. I'm just saying that's what they use. More than likely, they'd have a streetcar hanging down from the ceiling. There'd be a track in the ceiling, and it would hang down from the ceiling. There wouldn't be any electrical thing on the floor here, because if this floor is electrified, you might get shocked. So the floor would be nice and neat looking, and it would be hung from the roof, and that train would hang down from the roof like that. And you would get on the train and go where you need to go. So there'd be elevators there, there'd be interior doors to get into the interior aspect here. Then these are the apartments. This here is this is where they grow their greenhouses. So there's an attachment to that building that's also 8 miles wide. So they grow trees in here that for fruit, nuts and stuff. And then here's other vegetables and stuff that you can't grow hydroponically. So from the side, it would look like this. The condo tower's here, and then you got your little greenhouse here. And it would look like this from a different side. There's the condo tower there. So you'd have ancient greens here, and you'd have, fruit, nuts, and seeds here. You recognize that? That's just a symbol where I got that from. If you're wondering, it's like the Golden Arches. This here is an example of where's that? Right here. So all these cities are connected by these magnetic levitation trains, which is this here. Elon Musk talks about these. He calls them hyperloops. Basically, this is a glass tube. And inside it's a vacuum. There's a vacuum inside, so there's less air resistance. So the trains that are inside these tubes, they can travel at 2,000 kilometers per hour. They also use that glass tube as internet signal. So typically, our internet cables that cross the oceans, they look like that. Like if there's a cable that crosses the ocean, it'd be that thick. But they basically use the glass tube to send internet signal. So anywhere there's glass, that's how they send their internet signal around the world. This isn't an exact mock-up either. This is based on a regular subway where you would, you're used to seeing it, so you would sit here, right? Or here. But that's the magnetic levitation aspect to it. So you got advanced fiber optics. Civilization is the entire tube that train rides in. This is a Canadian um, communications company called Rogers, and that's where I drew the inspiration for this. I can tell because their logo is a circle like that. That's how they use their internet. So Rogers Communications tells me that the circle, they use the entire tube to pass their internet signal. So this is an example of scripture. I saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from the Creator, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. It's Revelation 21:21. So that's basically what it would look like in the future. But you see where it's blacked out portion here? We can't build that because there's that one right here. So those pink dots right there, these little lines extending out as a representation of this 20-mile long greenhouse. So they wouldn't be able to build right next to the Mediterranean Sea. They could if they brought that in maybe 20 miles. Then this blacked out portion here wouldn't be there. So that's why I have it over here is the promised land. They could put that city here and then fit those greenhouses there. So this is an example of a future location where the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from the Creator, prepared as a bride, adorned for her husband, could be positioned here. So there's a lot of dialogue that has to happen between these countries here, because you got this Kuwait, Iraq, Syria, Israel, Jordan, Lebanon, Turkey. So all of these countries would want one of these cities, but you could probably put 3 or 4 of them in the Middle East. You could put 3 or 4 in Egypt over here, right? So there'd have to be dialogue on where you would want to put that city. But that's what that scripture is about. It's about me bringing you a holy city as promised. And maybe I'm not saying that it would go there either, guys. I'm just saying that we need room to put it somewhere. So you might want to shift that back just to about there. That's where the new city would be built. And this city would appear out of thin air. You'd have a reservoir in the middle there, fresh water, and then you'd have all those condo towers. Where'd those go? Not that one. This one. So that's what you're looking at there. So that here is what would appear there, roughly, probably right about here. So this is another scripture here. It's from Ezekiel 1:5. So now as I beheld the living creatures, behold, one wheel upon the earth by the living creatures with his 4 faces. What that's talking about is metaphorically, what I've just shown you, this is a wheel. Technically, it's a wheel. So technically, that's upon the earth. And I don't know if you know anything about Ezekiel, but what Ezekiel did is he did sign acts, like he did street theater, where he did things like he laid on his side for a year eating poop cover or eating food, cooked over poop, and then he did these weird sign acts where he was creating theater on the streets where he would do this or do that. So because this is Ezekiel, I'm basically imitating that by giving you a glimpse into a different side of it. I'm saying that, behold, look at my street theater. You're watching me right now on TV, just like Ezekiel did street theater for live people on the street. But only difference is you're watching me through your technology. So it's a form of street theater where I'm showing you, behold, one wheel upon the earth. It's not on the earth, is it? It's on the earth metaphorically because you're seeing it on the earth here on my drawings. So it's referring to me being similar to Ezekiel and that I'm performing street theater to showing you a different interpretation of what these two scriptures mean. I saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from Anthony, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. So, you know, it basically means in order to get this, guys, I need to be the husband of mother. She needs to be prepared to be my bride. So if that's not allowed to happen, then this holy city can't be created, because somebody could drop the ball and you might, do harm to us. So that's what it's basically talking about. That's the parable within the parable of that scripture. That means, I need to be allowed to be with mother. And again, this one here is just about the living creatures. That's talking about my grandfather's spirit. Where's that one here? So you want to look at this one here. So this here is my father's spirit, my father Adam's spirit, my father Cork's spirit. This is my son soul spirit. This is my grandfather space spirit, my grandfather space spirit, my grandfather time spirit, my grandfather Gaia spirit, my grandfather Adam spirit, my grandfather Titan spirit, my grandfather Eve spirit. So I have three spirits. I have my grandfather's spirit, my father's spirit, which is these two, and then my son's spirit, which is this here. This here is what takes me to the dream world. Every night I fall asleep and go to a dream. That's my son's spirit. I've never met these two spirits yet, because evil's in control. And I've never met my grandfather's spirit, because evil's in control. But those are three spirits who live inside my physical body, which is the four creatures with the four faces here. So the four creatures represent, or the four faces is grandfather's spirit, which is these ones here, and father spirit, which is Adam and Cork, and the son spirit, which is the soul. So those are three faces who live inside of my body, which is physical, the fourth face. That's what that means. Are they creatures? You could consider a spirit as a creature, but a good creature. So that's what that means, guys. Now as I beheld the living creatures of Anthony's grandfather's spirit, father's spirit, son's spirit, and inside of his physical body, behold, he showed us one wheel upon the earth of New Jerusalem by the living creatures with his four faces. That's all that means, guys. So in order to create this, you have to create a shooting star with the nuclear fusion reactor. So you can deatomize the planet and then reatomize it, rearranging all the materials to create these super cities. So let's go here and then here. So where'd my microwave one go? Right there. So the UFOs would use their shooting stars here, and would pivot and swivel around the earth, disassembling the atoms, and then they would take the material from inside the earth here to create all of these pink glass cities. You have to take quartz out of the earth, you have to take fine ceramics out of the earth, you have to take sand out of the earth, you have to take graphite out of the earth, and you have to take rubies out of the earth to create that pink glass molecule. So the spirits would harvest all of that material and would create these 110 pink glass super cities in an instant. This is the planet. It would disappear in an instant when they're using the UFOs to shoot it with the shooting star. And then over here is the end when they're putting it back together, minus all the materials out of the earth, to create these super pink glass super cities. That would happen. I don't know the exact how long it takes. Imagine it would take several minutes, if not several hours, to do that. So that's what the shooting star metaphorically means in the song. That's shooting star scientifically to terraform the planet. Now, the other meaning is this. You recognize that guy? Or how about that guy? You recognize him? So the song Shooting Star by Bad Company means these guys are going to shoot your mom and dad. We're two stars. Like, we're going to come onto the scene. Although all of a sudden, all of the woodworks say, "Oh my goodness, two Native Americans are the creators." I don't like that. I don't like that. Either there's going to be a hint of racism, or there could be, you don't like what I did to protect you because you don't know what true spiritual warfare entails. You're so used to your interpretation instead of my interpretation. So if you don't, I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you're a bad jury member, and you only listen to one side of the case, like if you're sitting on a jury and you have to listen to the case of Satan, and you only listen to the prosecution, which is this guy here, and this guy here. If you only listen to the prosecution of Satan, if this is Satan here, and that's the prosecution, and then you get up because you've only read that one book and say, that Anthony guy, he's Satan, he's guilty, man. Because I don't like what he did to, protect us. Sure, he's 100% honest, but man, that guy was horrible for what he did to protect us. I can't believe he actually told the truth of what he did in his own bedroom. Man, that guy is horrible. He's Satan. Only Satan would do such a bad thing. So if you take that stance and only listen to the prosecution without listening to the defense, you're not a good jury member. And what you're going to do is, that's going to make you a shooting star. Don't you know that you're a shooting star? Don't you know that you're a shooting star? Don't you know that you're a shooting star? Duality dictates that there's only right and wrong, win or lose. One of these is correct and one of them is not. The difference is I have science on my side. That's how I know I'm right. So you can stand on this side here with no supernatural leg to stand on and believe you're right, and take the stance of being a shooting star. I'm gonna shoot those Native American stars, man. Let's shoot for the stars, eh? You want to shoot for the stars, anybody? That's what bad company means, because you're in the company of bad company. You've been lied to. And if you become a bad jury member and not listen to all the facts, you're going to become a shooting star. So, you got to decide which side of the fence you want to fall on, Death Valley or Life Mountain. This path here, the journey to climb up to spirituality, it's a little bit hard. You gotta stop climaxing. You gotta confess your sins. You gotta drink only water. You gotta eat a healthy diet. You gotta exercise every day. And that's pretty much it. In exchange, you are forever young. You get to live forever. The opposite is, if you can't climb that mountain and make that change, well, you take the easy route and just go down to Death Valley, disappear forever. Those are your only two options, man. Live forever as a physical god or goddess, or disappear forever alongside evil. So you can be negative or you can be positive. But there is no middle road, guys. So the question is, Don't you know that you're a shooting star? Are you going to play that role as a shooting star? You know, me and my soulmate, we're almost stars. And when we become stars, which from Lady Gaga, a star is born, that's when you guys are going to fill that role and become a shooting star. Because you're bad company. That's the second meaning of the song. Now, the third meaning is me. So I'm running here. And when I'm running, like when I'm exercising, when I'm doing my crunches, when I'm doing my stretches, when I'm doing my my push-ups, and then I go for my run when I'm exercising 88 minutes a day, I'm becoming a shooting star, in other words, because we've done the old bait and switch. For 9 lives, you know, the bad guys thought that I was always magnetism. They always thought this was me. Well, now I'm both of them. I'm fire and magnetism. I'm hydrogen right here. That's me and that's me. And because that gets sucked into the star and then gets shot over towards the planet, I'm a shooting star. But you guys think I'm bad company. The shoe's on the other foot. You guys think I'm like that. You think I'm up here and I'm bad company. It's the other meaning. I'm a shooting star, meaning that star out there, it's shooting off my spirit. That's my spirit. That earth proton, that fire electron, that's me. I'm a shooting star. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to save you guys by running. So when I run every day, here, and reverse the atom in my body to create microscopic tears in my body and rebuild those microscopic tears with positive atoms that are good spirits, I'm changing my body and becoming Earth's first, person to create muscle tissue created from positive spirits as opposed to bad spirits. So when I'm running, I'm recharging the quarks, the atoms, the quarks, the soul, the space, the time, the Gaia particle, the atom particle, the black holes in there, the black holes in there. Why am I doing that? Because the wave here, this wave of electromagnetism, which is let's go this one here, I guess. Or is it this one? That's one. So that wave of electromagnetism, I'm trying to stick my spirit to it because right now it's a negative wave. I had that running one here somewhere. There it is. So this is the way evil travels. So they travel upon that visible electromagnetic radiation wave that's connected to the moon, the planet, the black hole under all stars, and the supermassive black hole in the center of galaxies. So when they want to travel around, they use the evil grandmother and evil grandfather, which is that invisible electromagnetic radiation wave or dark energy to travel about. So right now that wave looks like that. It's evil. This is the evil grandfather, that's the evil grandmother. Or that's the evil grandmother, that's the evil grandfather. So what I'm trying to do as a shooting star is because I'm positive and following the light, I'm trying to use that star to shoot my fire electrons and earth protons to that invisible electromagnetic radiation wave here that's connected from the sun to the planet, or gravity. That's what gravity is. I'm basically trying to stick those invisible electromagnetic radiation waves with my spirit, or the hydrogen fire electrons and hydrogen earth protons, to stick to it. To disable evil's ability to come over here in UFOs to do us harm. So when I'm running, I'm 260 pounds now. So as I'm running like this, I'm losing weight and I'm recharging my body. So what I'm doing now is I'm exercising. I theorize, when I build my muscle tissue up, I lose the fat. That's when I can send a message out to the good universe and ask for our spaceship so that mankind can wage war upon the evil aliens that want to take over creation. So when I reach a certain point of muscularity, that's when these hydrogen atoms can bind to it. So when I start running soon and exercising with this new technique that I've discovered recently, that you'll learn about in later videos, you'll watch that video later. You'll understand what I'm trying to accomplish here. So right now, I haven't really done the this new technique. Starting in 2 days is when I'm going to be running for the very first time and building muscle tissue with positive spirits or positive atoms. So the atoms that are going to go into my body to create the muscles is going to be pure, and it basically means I'm going to become more muscular with pure muscle. First man on planet Earth to build pure muscle, and it's that pure muscle that's going to allow me to send a signal to the positive universe. Appear using my phone is a way to send a message to them, telling them we need UFOs down here so we can wage war against evil. So when I'm running, that wave that's negative, that evil spirit there, that evil spirit there, that evil grandmother spirit, that evil grandfather spirit, because they're negative and evil, and I'm positive that's my spirit there. So this wave, this green earth wave, that's evil grandfather. He's evil. This orange fire wave, that's grandmother. She's evil. So, but the hydrogen coming off that star, being shot off that star, the shooting star, that's me. So the hydrogen being shot off of that star, the fire electrons and earth protons is positive because I'm positive and I'm the father of all creation. So the shooting of protons and shooting protons and shooting electrons coming off that star makes me the shooting star. So I'm the shooting star from that song Bad Company. Who's the bad company? So I'm this here, this is me here. So I'm the shooting star, those hydrogen earth protons and hydrogen fire electrons, that's me. I'm shooting those out of the star. So I'm the shooting star. But the bad company is that invisible electromagnetic radiation wave. Right here. From the black hole to our Earth, or gravity. That wave that holds our planet in place, that's evil grandmother and evil grandfather. That's the bad company. So this entire wave here is the bad company. That's gravity. The supermassive black hole at the center of our galaxy, it's held in place. It's connected to all stars in our galaxy via invisible electromagnetic radiation, or evil grandmother, evil grandfather. And then every black hole is connected to 1,408 planets in the Milky Way, holding those planets in place, holding the solar system in place. Those waves are evil grandmother and grandfather. And then all the moons, there's 288 moons in each solar system. Those moons are held in place by invisible electromagnetic radiation waves, or evil grandmother and evil grandfather. So that's bad company right here. That's bad company. That's what that means. So that's the bad company. I'm the shooting. This is the bad company, that wave, and that's the shooting star here coming out the star. That's the third meaning. So what I'm trying to do is bind Satan. So this is the third revelation. So this is Revelation 20. Then I saw an angel coming down from heaven, having the key to the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. That chain is a branched chain amino acids. It's very critical that I eat those branched chain amino acids before I do my exercises so that I can build the muscle fibers in my body with positive atoms created from the good side of creation, so that I can send a signal out to the positive universe asking for help. That's the chain in that verse. It means a branched chain of amino acids, a great chain in his hand, which is this branched chain amino acids, which I need to run. So that chain is the shooting star. When those fire electrons and earth protons come shooting out from the star, here, they're going to stick to that invisible electromagnetic radiation wave right here. They're going to stick to it and create a chain around that wave like that. So this is the fire side of creation, but my hydrogen earth protons are going to stick to that fire wave. This is the evil grandmother, but my hydrogen earth protons are going to stick to it. And this is the evil grandfather, but my fire electrons are going to stick to it. That's another form of chain. That's what that means. And I saw an angel coming down from heaven having the key to the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. That chain is this. But to get all this information required spiritual warfare with my hand, if you catch my drift. And if you don't, when you read my book, you'll understand what it means. That's the chain in my hand. In order to get this information that you're now learning, there are certain things I had to do with my hand to secure that information. Such as learning I'm supposed to eat branched chain amino acids so I can lock the real Satan away. By creating a chain of hydrogen earth protons and a chain of hydrogen fire electrons around that evil invisible electromagnetic radiation wave. Right there. When I run, there's those earth protons sticking to that wave and fire electrons sticking to that wave. And eventually, I'm going to begin sucking the life force out of that wave when I build more muscle from positive atoms that repair the micro tears in my body from doing stretches, crunches, push-ups while running. Basically exercising 88 minutes a day. I'll suck the life force right out of the grandmother and grandfather until eventually they're kaputskis. And when I have total control of that wave, those particles they'll fly off of it because the wave will be positive. That's the great chain in the Bible of how I'm going to lock Satan away. Because I'm not Satan, man. I'm the good guy here. So, now, I was going to put that one, so we'll look at that one more over here. So that's what bad company means here. So the bad company is that visible electromagnetic radiation wave. Right here. See it? Bad company, that evil grandmother, grandfather. And I'm the shooting star. Right here. Binding my hydrogen earth protons and hydrogen fire electrons to that wave. Why? Because when these particles are attached to that wave, it makes that wave neutral. It means there's a 50-50 chance that if the bad guys try to come over here, by telling the spirits they want to come over here, they could crash the UFO. My spirit could crash that UFO. Typically, when you want to travel someplace, I'll use this one here. Let's say they wanted to travel to that planet. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 planets away. If they wanted to travel over there, they'd tell the computer right here. They'd tell the computer, please take me to planet number. So if we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, let's say they wanted to go to Alpha Centauri. They'd say, take me to Alpha Centauri. And the UFO would ride upon that invisible electromagnetic radiation wave. Where's that one? Right here. The UFO would ride that wave. So it would go from our planet here. it would shoot over to there, along that wave, and then it would bounce from that star to Proxima Centauri, the nearest star. So it would bounce to that star via another wave of electromagnetism, like that. And then it would bounce over to that star there, another star, via that visible wave of electromagnetism, from star to star. So it would go from Earth to that star there, and then it would go from star to star, and then it would fly back over to Alpha Centauri. It would fly over there. So the evil pilot would tell the computer to fly from Earth to Alpha Centauri. Fly me to Alpha Centauri, it would say. And it would go boom, and then it would go boom, 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 like that, riding that visible wave of electromagnetism. Right here. However, when I have that visible electromagnetic radiation chained up with my fire electrons and earth protons, there's a 50-50 chance that might not happen. If that evil guy says, fly me over to Proxima, or fly me over to Alpha Centauri, he tells the computer that, the electricity in the computer, which is electromagnetism, which is that wave here, the electricity in the computer is the same electricity is being generated by these positive fire electrons. That's what electricity is. That's these fire electrons. And this is electricity as well, this wave, meaning there's two competing electricities. There's my positive electricity in that computer, and there's this evil electricity in that computer. So there's a 50-50 chance that the guy trying to fly from Proxima Centauri over to Earth could smash right into the Earth. So he made that my grandfather's spirit might fly them over to here and then fly them over to the nearest planet, Proxima Centauri, and just smash the UFO into that planet at faster than light speeds. That UFO would become a weapon. It would probably blow that planet apart because of how fast it happens. He would fly over there at 1/60th of a second, smash into that planet, and I guarantee you, the size of a crater from an 8-mile wide UFO at flying at speeds faster than light would disintegrate that planet. Basically, the evil people that live on Proxima Centauri would be blown to smithereens, and then they all go flying out into space. That planet would blow up. I guarantee you, it would blow up. So I don't think they would want to take that risk. That's why I'm the shooting star, because I'm trying to protect you guys from evil dumbass aliens trying to come over here with their UFOs and pretend to be that guy there. That's what makes me the shooting star. So the bad company is that visible electromagnetic radiation wave, and I'm the sun. I'm these fire electrons and earth protons. I'm the shooting star. That's meaning number 3. Now let me add the 4th layer in. So you may have to go back and listen to that song 4 times because I've given you 4 separate meanings of what it means. So this is the 4th meaning. So in the past life, mother was she was that. But we've alternated back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So she's been that, and then I've been that. So we've let evil think that we alternate back and forth. So our souls always bounce back and forth. One time I'm magnetism, and the next time she's magnetism. Then the next life I'm fire, and then she's fire. So for 9 lives, I've been magnetism. Then the next life, I've been fire. The next life, so one life, this is life 1, I was electricity. Next life, I was magnetism. The next life, I was fire. Next life, I was magnetism. So for 9 lives, we've been rotating back and forth like that. Until now, where I'm both of them. So in a past life, they've been using mother and her pregnancy as a way to create a black hole. When she becomes pregnant, she becomes a shooting star. So when she's magnetism, when she's fire, it creates a black hole. And that's done through her child. So the evil spirits that are created from the sperm here and her egg being of evil atoms, because those are made up of atoms, the molecules that make up the sperm and the egg is from evil spirits. And when that, and because her and her boyfriend aren't pure and they become pregnant, she's the mother of all creation. She's what birthed this universe into creation at the beginning of time, but only because she was 100% pure and an angelic being. But I don't know what she's doing now, but I know she's probably not like what she used to be at the beginning of time. You know, she probably smoked cigarettes. She might have had a couple beers in her life, you know, not to mention the sexual sins. So you add that up, and she's no longer an angelic being in terms of being 100% pure. She may be 99% pure, right? So, but that 1% impurity is what could destroy us. So she's a shooting star in a past life. Her having that element fire, when she becomes pregnant, when the baby's spinal cord forms here, when that single atom here pops into existence, which has the quark, its soul, space-time guy particle, that's being created by evil spirits. And those evil spirits here that are connected to the sun, right here, that's evil spirit basically is what's creating the mother's baby. That evil spirit is hijacking mother's pregnancy to create a black hole. And they do it when this life force is created. When the life force of the spinal cord pops into existence, there's a great deal of electricity that pops into existence with that. That electricity, it flows from there over to the planet where they've set up these UFOs here, there, to create a black hole. CERN over here, one of their fire electrons or earth protons gets sucked into that nuclear fusion reactor, that UFO, and bam, you got yourself a black hole. That makes Mother a shooting star. So she's a star who can shoot us. She's a shooting star as well, meaning she shoots mankind with her pregnancy because she's with bad company. Like, she's not pure. The company she's with, because she's an impure creator, is bad. She's with bad company. And when she becomes pregnant, the bad company becomes a shooting star. She creates a black hole. That's why they got these spaceships here. That's what shooting star Hosa means. She's a shooting star who destroys us with a black hole. Now, the other one is when she becomes magnetism here, when she's magnetism, that's a different weapon. Same process. When the evil spirits create the spinal cord here, what happens instead of CERN creating a black hole, you have ITER. ITER is a nuclear fusion reactor. ITER uses a lot of electricity and the world's most powerful magnets to create nuclear fusion. It's a weapon. So what happens then is when the baby's spinal cord forms, and ITER, with its nuclear fusion reactor, CERN shoots one of these protons over to ITER, and they just live next door over here. So when that proton enters that nuclear fusion reactor's black hole, the microscopic black hole that dissipates the plasma that is being generated, when that proton gets sucked in by ITER's reactor, at the exact moment that mother's baby spinal cord forms and all this electricity and magnetism pops into existence, the same process happens. She becomes a shooting star. So her Earth proton, that was the fire electron that could create a black hole, now creates an entire worldwide electromagnetic pulse. So as that proton gets sucked into the magnetism of Eater's nuclear fusion reactor, the magnetism that is mother here, this is magnetism, and it gets sucked in by the magnetism, connects with this Earth's magnetosphere. It charges it, it supercharges it with magnetism, and because this magnetosphere creates our magnetosphere, it creates a worldwide electromagnetic pulse. Everything gets shut down, and we go back to the Stone Ages, man, like back to the year 10,000. But at the same time, what happens is COVID, which evil has engineered, it mutates. They use the life force of this baby to mutate the COVID virus. COVID mutates with rabies, hantavirus, and Ebola, and you got a zombie virus. And it becomes so bad because when we get set back to the Stone Ages, we cannot fight it. The minute the new COVID virus enters mankind with rabies, Ebola, and hantavirus, which hantavirus makes it airborne, meaning it travels through the air. Just by simply breathing, it travels through the air. The minute it reaches the birds outnumber mankind, I think, like 60 to 1. Those birds take that virus and spread it around the world, and it becomes unstoppable. It spreads to all mankind via the birds. And because the birds are airborne, they're all flying around like, rabbit, and they're breathing out the virus, spreading it everywhere. And it gets airborne everywhere. There's nowhere that you could hide. You breathe it in, and within, I would say, 90 days, all mankind dies because of COVID mutating and us not having any electricity to combat it because of the EMP created by Mother being a shooting star or Earth proton. That's the fourth meaning. She's a shooting star. In 9 past lives, that I don't know if that has happened, but I believe it has once or twice. Along with the black holes, that has happened. So that's what makes Mother a shooting star. She can create a black hole, or she can turn COVID rabid while creating an electromagnetic pulse because of evil spirits in control of creation, who are this invisible electromagnetic radiation wave, or evil grandmother, evil grandfather. That's the fourth meaning of shooting star. So once again, we'll start with that. That's Mother. In 9 past lives, she's been a shooting star because of bad company. The bad company is the visible electromagnetic radiation wave, or evil grandmother, evil grandfather. Getting her to become pregnant, with her element being Earth, which creates an electromagnetic pulse worldwide, which also mutates COVID, which goes around the world in 80 days and kills everybody in 80 days. That makes her a shooting star. On other lives, she becomes fire, and when that happens, the strategic UFOs that they placed around the world, placed around the Dragons Triangle, Bermuda Triangle, and Antarctica, that weapon fires. CERN sends a fire electron over there, and next thing you know, we got a black hole. CERN shoots a Earth proton over towards Eater, and next thing you know, we got an EMP with COVID. That's what makes Mother a shooting star. The third one is, you guys become shooting stars. Why? Because you're bad jury members. The minute you hear Mom and Dad are Native American, that guy there becomes a shooting star. Don't you know that you are a shooting star? You're in bad company, and you're a shooting star. You shoot the stars. That's 2. 3 is me. I'm that star. I'm the hydrogen, and that star is shooting my positive Earth proton and positive fire electron towards the evil grandmother, evil grandfather, invisible electromagnetic radiation wave. Right there. And I'm sticking to it because I'm a shooting star. So I'm the shooting star, which is that hydrogen there, and that there, that's the shooting star because it's coming off the star. And that's the bad company, the invisible electromagnetic radiation wave, or evil grandmother, evil grandfather, because I'm trying to protect you by hijacking that wave to create a chain around it so that, I could smash their UFO into one of their evil planets should they try to come over here and try to attack us. That's shooting star number 3. Now, shooting star number 4. We're going back to science. So, you have learned here, is it this? Yeah, this one here, right here, how the terraforming process works, of how advanced civilizations use UFOs, right? They use the nuclear fusion reactor to shoot protons and electrons to deatomize a planet. Right here. That's a shooting star. So the UFOs are shooting stars. But what CERN doesn't know is that the hydrogen that they're playing around with over at CERN is what makes them a shooting star. CERN, through this scientific explanation of what a nuclear fusion reactor is, what they use it for, makes the hydrogen that they're utilizing over there a shooting star. So CERN, you're a shooting star because you're playing around with my spirit, that fire electron, that earth proton. By playing around with it, accelerating it near the speed of light, and then smashing it together, that makes you a shooting star. And you're in the company of bad people. You are playing around with a positive spirit, utilizing evil electricity, which can create a black hole if mother becomes pregnant. So you're a shooting star, science. You're a bad company. Your machine is bad company. Stop playing around with that stuff, man, because you're a shooting star. You're shooting fire electrons and earth protons in your machine. That makes you a shooting star. So those are the 4 meanings behind bad company, shooting star. So listen to that song 4 times. And go back this last 10 minutes and listen to my explanation so that you could get a clearer understanding of what bad company, shooting star really means.